Welcome, everybody. My name is Miss Miller, and I am bringing you some new ways, quote unquote, to do math. I know I've spoken to a number of parents and scholars and how they may be taught at home how to multiply, divide fractions was not quite how your parents may have learned it, or there's just new strategies out there for learning math, still the same math but just different ways of learning it or trying to find the right answer. So on this channel we are going to go over some ways to do math, and if you like it, don't forget to click the like button, and if you're interested in getting all the topics that come out, don't forget to subscribe. Also, please feel free to leave some comments like what's up, but make sure it's positive. I want to make sure that I'm helping and supporting families at home and scholars with schoolwork. I know COVID was something that we all had to go through, and there might be some gaps in our learning, some gaps in just, how we got things handled during that time. And it was pretty confusing, and trying to close those gaps and help your children at home can be very tough sometimes. But enough of all that. Okay. So when you're here on the channel, I would suggest and always promote, grab yourself a nice notebook and a pencil so that way you can take notes. I will be sharing my screen to give you some examples and then work through the problems with you. Almost like free tutoring. Who doesn't like anything free? But again, my name is Miss Miller, and let's get started. Today's topic is multiplication. I'm not going to go over one digit. If you feel like you want some 3x1, 2x1 multiplication as a refresher, just drop it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get that video out. But today we're going to work on 2x2 and 3x2 multiplication. So let's get started with today, and I'm going to share my screen. So let's talk about the regular way we do things using the algorithm. I call it the parent way, the way I learned, the way your parents learned, which would be the algorithm. We're going to start with something simple like 32 times 12. Excuse my handwriting. I'm very big on that, but touchscreen is a little difficult sometimes. Here we go. How your parents learned it. So what they did was 32 at the top and times 12 at the bottom. Now I write it vertically. There's no way to solve a math problem usually unless you're really good at it horizontally, like it's written up here. And so to solve using the algorithm, we write it vertically. One factor is at the top, one factor is at the bottom. So how your parents learned was you multiply the digits in the factor at the bottom by the number at the top. So I would do 2 times everything at the top. And we're going to start with the ones place, always starting with the ones place. So first I'm going to do 2 times 2, which gives me 4. And then I'm going to do 2 times 3, which gives me 6. And now I'm done with the 2. I actually don't need it anymore. I like to cross it out sometimes. It's just something I like to do. Now, since I'm leaving the ones place and going to the tens place, I also need to put a 0 in the ones place because I'm moving to the tens place. Moving on up. Yes. So now we're going to do the same thing we did with the 2, except we're going to do it with the 1. We're going to multiply the 1 times the 2 and then the 1 times the 3. So 1 times 2 definitely gives us 2, and 1 times 3 gives us 3. And now we have both of our partial products. So partial products are the answers we get that will help us get to our final product. So these two numbers in the middle are our partial products. So when you're done finding your partial products, final step is to add. If you sometimes have trouble lining up your addition, I like to draw lines. 4 plus 0 is 4. 6 plus 2 is 8. And nothing plus 3 gives us 3. And circling the final answer. Quick tip, math teachers love when you circle your answer because it helps them find it quicker and look over your work. So this is the algorithm. This is probably the way your parents have learned it and are trying to teach you at home. Now, let's say this is a little bit too much for your scholar or for yourself as a student. And remembering this process is really difficult. So I have another way where I break up the factors by the second factor's place value. So again, we're going to do 32 times 12. And what I do is I take the second factor and I break it up by its values. So what I mean is for the first part, I'm going to do 32 times 2 because the value of the 2 in 12 is 2. And then I'm also going to do 32 times 10 because the value of the 1 in 12 is 10. And I'm going to find my partial product. So 32 times 2. Again, if you need a refresher with 1 digits, don't forget to leave a comment and I'll create a video for 1 digits. However, should be pretty smooth sailing. 2 times 2, and then I would do 2 times 3. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and 2 times 3 is 6. Now we move over to 32 times 10, and multiplying by a 10, 100 or 1000 results in the same digits, but the digits are moved to the left depending on the amount of zeros. So in this case, my 32 is going to move to the left 1 space, and then it's going to put the 3 in the hundreds place. So I like to do my shortcut as anything times 10 is going to have a 0 in the ones place. Don't need that anymore. 1 times 2 is 2, and 1 times 3 is 3. And do you remember our final step? Always is going to happen when you have 2 by 2 or 3 by 2 multiplication. Our final step to find our final product is to add our partial products. Make sure you line up those place values. 1s should be lined up with 1s, and 10s should be lined up with 10s, and so forth. And again, if you struggle with that, you definitely can draw the lines down, right? If you are struggling with your place value. But for right now, we're going to just add like usual. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 plus 6 is 8. And 3 plus nothing is 3. Same answer, 384. So again, this is a different way of doing multiplication, a way that might be supportive of your thinking and breaking up the factors. Drop it in the comments below if you like this method, if you like, I call it the value method when doing 2 by 2. And it's helped a lot of my students move quicker with their multiplication because they can move faster with the 1 digit or by 10. So I'm just wondering, how did you like that? That was really, really good. I feel like the value method that I use to help some of my scholars really helps them to not get overwhelmed with such large numbers. In a second, I'm going to share my screen again, and we're going to just go over a couple more problems, right? I'm going to show you the value method again. If you want me to do more of the algorithm, because that's more of what you're working on towards, then go ahead and drop it in the comments so I know. But let's get started on this value method again. So we are going to try some new factors. Let's try something with carrying, right? I know you know carrying from addition. Let's try carrying with multiplication. So let's try 52 times 16. So again, we have to break up the second factor by its values, which means I am going to be multiplying 52 times 6. That is the value of the 6 in 16. And 52 times 10, because the value of the 1 in 16 is 10. It is worth 10. So let's get started. 1 digit multiplication. Again, we're going to do 6 times everything at the top. So first we do 6 times 2, right? Which is 12. So in this case, we have to drop the 2 and carry the 1. I like to circle the numbers I carry. Keeps me focused. Now I'm going to do 6 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. Plus the 1 gives me 31. Don't forget about that 1 you carried. Beautiful. Let's go over to the next part. That's our first partial product. Let's get to our second one. Anything times 10 will result in a 0 in the ones place. And now I'm done with that 0. And then 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 5 is 5. Do you remember that last step? Yeah, it's to add it all together. So we take our two partial products. I have 520. I have 312. I'm going to add them. Make sure you line up those place values. And we got 0 plus 2, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 5 plus 3, 8. Final answer and product is 832. Don't forget to circle those answers for your math teachers. They love it. All right, let's try one more, but let's go a little bigger. Let's do 3 by 2. Woohoo, don't get scared. Don't get scared out there. We got this. So let's try a different problem. Let's try 123 times 12. And I know you're like, ooh, it's the hundreds. It's going to be okay. I promise you, it will work itself out. So let's do what we usually do. You're going to break up the second factor by its values. So what should we multiply? Write it on your paper to see if you got it. All right, let's see what you got. Vertically, we're going to write 123 times 2, because that's the value of the 2. Hopefully you got that right. And then we're going to do 123 times 10, because that's the value of the 1 in 12. It is worth 10. And now we're going to multiply like usual. I have 2 times 3, which is 6. Then I do 2 times 2, which is 4. And then I do 2 times 1, which is 2. How did you do over there? I hope it came out the same answer. Now let's move over to our tens. Remember, what's our rule? Anything times 10 is going to result with a 0 in the ones place. Done with the 0. Moving on to the 1. And then I got 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2. And then 1 times 1. Final step. Yep. Step number 3, add your partial products. So I got 1,230 plus 246. And again, don't get tricked. Make sure you line up that place value. Ones go with ones, tens go with tens. And again, if it gets a little confusing, you can always draw your lines to make sure you have it. And then final answer, we're going to do 6 plus 0, which is 6. 3 plus 4, which is 7. 2 plus 2, which is 4. And 1 plus nothing, which is 1. Final answer and product comes out to be 1,476. I'm going to put a check mark. Usually, if I'm working in my groups, I check it off for my tutorees. So how did you do? I'm excited to see if you caught it. I'm excited to see if you were able to grasp that strategy for multiplying 2 by 2 or 3 by 2 digit numbers. Of course, the larger the number or the greater the number, you might have to carry more often, and it's okay. If you mess up, take your time. I always say practice might not make perfect, but practice helps us find our mistakes in math. And you can't really learn in math until you make mistakes so you can see where you have to fix it. So I hope this was very helpful to you, parents, scholars, students. Again, my name is Miss Miller. This is brought to you by J Moments, and we're presenting new strategies in math, or the new way of math. And don't forget to leave me some topics to make videos for if you need some extra help. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you coming out today, and I will talk to you later.